and so I'm really pleased with where he is from a mental side of it. He really hasn't had, the game experience to show me that yet. I think he can do it, but this spring is obviously big for him to prove that. But everything that I've seen so far leads me to believe that he's ready for the opportunity and ready to show something. So I'm excited to see this spring. It will be an important spring for him, and it won't. I don't know if it's going to decide itself in the spring. It's going to keep going, because they're, we're always trying to get this roster better, and we've got other guys competing too. So.
Or with the young guys, how do you know when they're ready? Like, what do you look for to know that they're ready to kind of meet that challenge for you?
That's a good question. A lot of things. Really, how they respond physically on the field, in terms of being able to execute the blocks we're asking them to execute. Right? Is it a stalemate? Are they able to get vertical movement? Are they able to get movement on our D line, which is very good? And can they handle the mental side of it? Are they making a lot of mistakes? Do they know where they're supposed to be? Are they playing fast? Are they explosive? Or is there pause? Is there delay? Is there hesitation? Their confidence or lack thereof is a big indicator, right? And different positions are maybe more easily seen than others. You look at the center position where, we had guys taking reps that young guys, TJ and Clayton and some of these guys, and really it hits them fast because they have to make calls, they have to see the defense, they have to do a lot of different things that they're not accustomed to doing, and they're not ready for that at this point, right? But they will be. They're just not, day one. So that's a big part of it based on that position. Tackle, it's a lot of times their mobility, right? How can they get the 4-eye cut off? Can you vertical set against our edge rushers, right? When you got guys coming up the field, I mean, it's a big deal. So that would be how I'd answer that. Yeah, different positions for different things.
Coach, how glad are you guys don't have to deal with Johnny Newton in the game?
Well, he's a phenomenal football player, and obviously has proven time and again and game and again that he belongs at one of the best in the country, and certainly one of the best in the Big Ten. But our guys face there's good D linemen all over the place. I mean, Mozzie Smith from Michigan and the guys from Nebraska were big and strong, and of course Wisconsin. But that's a challenge we take very personally every week, and guys. I think that helps us rise to the occasion too. I mean, they got to play us also, right? And I look at a guy like Alex Pihlstrom last year. Went up against Benton at Wisconsin, and had a great game against him. And now people are talking about drafting Pill in the late rounds. So it's a challenge for everybody. But hopefully one of our guys thrive on and strive to the occasion and know that they belong in that same conversation, because we're trying to be the best in the country as well.
In practice, how much do you work against a guy in the first string like him?
Oh, in practice? I don't know if you can replicate that. Yeah, with the scout team, unless we do one-on-ones or one versus one, and which those guys, Johnny's and Keith and all those guys, Calvin Avery, all those guys were good players and know good practice players as well. Like, they know they're playing against Palcho and Julian Pearl and our starters as well. So there's a respect, I think, in the game that they're trying to win, we're trying to win, but at the same time we're on the same team, and Illinois is trying to win together. So it's hard to replicate all Big Ten players when you're practicing on a weekly basis, but going against our D-line certainly helps us in spring, and obviously that led to some success we had this fall.
You keep looking around wondering where Pacho is?
Yeah, I am. I'm half expecting him to walk back into the meeting room tomorrow.
He's done. 6 years enough. But again, you got to replace that guy. I assume leadership is a big deal there, right?
Yeah, sure. And this really, we were talking about this today, is this is the first time since we've been here as a staff that a Doug Kramer or a Palcho or a Vidari Lowe hasn't been here. One of these long experienced players has not been in charge of the room, and now the leadership now falls to guys like a Julian Pearl and Isaiah Adams, who have played good football, but not near the number and the volume of football that some of those other guys have. So but that's part of this game. That's part of the collegiate game is developing that leadership also, right? And that's I think an avenue that both Isaiah and Julian can really excel in, and get better at and grow in. And I think I had the same conversation with Palcho last year, who lost Doug Kramer the year before, right? Who was always our vocal guy. So that's one of the joys of I think my job is to see that growth in these young players that now have that leadership role, have that alpha mentality. And,
Right.
it's fun to see, and those guys are getting better and better at it.
And Palcho will have a chance to play the next level. You got other guys up there. I assume that's a great thing from your vantage point.
Absolutely.
To see Allegretti and Karras, all those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously a great success that Illinois had. Obviously, Coach B and myself, we've had a tremendous amount of guys in the NFL. We take a lot of pride in what's happened the last 2 years with Doug and V and now Alex and both Alexes, right? And then we'll have a couple more next year, and you know, and
Kind of what you want, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pipeline. It's something we're striving to build, is make this a dominant O-line program, and it's headed that way. I mean, I think the Joe Moore recognition last year, the All 5 Big Ten recognition that those guys got, all starters got, and I think that just speaks volumes to not only the kids, their work ethic, but what we're preaching, what we're developing, and where Illinois is headed.
I'm sure you've been asked this already, but who you got repping at center in the spring? What do you like about each one of them?
Well, we got quite a few guys repping at center. Josh Kreutz obviously would be maybe the obvious one that finished the season as our number 2. Tremendously a smart player, very football savvy, football IQ savvy, plays with an edge, and certainly knows the offense well. So he's taken a lot of reps. Zach Barlow has had a really good offseason. He's moved into center and taken a lot of center reps lately. TJ McMillan was a center recruit, that mid-year guy that has come in and repped a little bit. You've seen guys like Clayton Leonard, Jordan Slaughter, will all snap. Joey Okla has the ability to snap. So we've got a lot of guys that are repping at that position right now. So there's youth there. There's also some inexperience, right, which we need to get better at. But I think they're all learning really command of that position, right? Command of the calls, command of the defensive identifications, the offense, all those things. I think that's probably the biggest challenge for guys changing positions and moving to the center spot. So, but our snaps have been good, and really excited to see what happens at that spot.
Do you want to come out of the spring with a sure starter identified at that spot?
I don't know if I can make that comment right now, to be honest with you. I think I want to have some solidification of spots. I want to have kind of a goal and a plan of what could happen and what we could do, and certainly prop us up. But yeah, I'd like to see somebody take command of that and overtake it. But it's going to be an open competition, just like some of those other spots are, right? And so I think I'm excited to see where it goes.
You recruited Isaiah Adams as a tackle. Is he going to make that move this spring, or?
That's too early to tell that as well, I guess. We recruited him because he was the best available player, and really when we got Palcho back, it allowed us to move him inside, and all he did really was become maybe the best of his position, in my opinion, in the conference. And I know he didn't get first team All Big Ten, but in my mind he was deserving of it. And he's certainly one of the most physical guys in the team and in the country. And I'll say that, he's the most physical guy and one of the most physical guys in the country. And I'm excited to see what he could do, whether it's at the guard spot or another spot. But right now, those two are rolling on the left side, and we'll see what happens.
The talent has always been there for Julian Pearl. What do you think he's got to do to take a big step this year?
Well, the thing I told both him and Isaiah is that they both came back for a reason. They both came back to up their value, to finish what we started here. We didn't win the Joe Moore last year. We started the season great, but didn't finish. And you look back at games we lost, like Indiana, Michigan State, and Purdue, and you see those games where we as a coaching staff, players' execution, like there's things we left out there that I think we all have a bad taste in our mouth, and that's a sign of, I think, of a true competitor and a guy that wants to win and wants to be the best, and as he wants to get those things right. And so that's kind of my message to both of those guys, is you guys came back for a reason. You need to take advantage of this opportunity, right? Take this opportunity to develop and get better at the things that you're weakest at, right? They both have an immense amount of talent and potential, but that doesn't really get you anything without the action to back that up, right? And without that development, without that growth. So I'd like to see him change a few things and be more consistent with some technique, and really just take some ownership and really become a truly dominant player that I believe he is. And both of those guys, Isaiah and Julian, but each of them have different skill sets, but each of them have very similar qualities as well. And they work really well together. They've got great cohesiveness, and I think Isaiah brings out some great values in Julian, and I think Julian continues to push Isaiah just because he is so athletic and so gifted. So I'm really excited to see where those two can go. They've been great so far. We've really seen kind of a change in a maturation in their mentality, in the way they've approached things, like the off season, and that's exciting. Last year, if you remember, Julian missed the first 2 weeks of spring. That's growth in itself. That I didn't have to pull him off the basketball court, in the off season. But we've had multiple talks about what he wants, what we want, and how we can get there. And I'm excited to see him take on those challenges.